There is plenty of work in England. I might be bold enough to say there's actually work for every single person in this room. Depending, of course, you need to turn out a good CV and do well at interview, we know that. But there is plenty of work. So if you want to be in a full-time job, if that is your priority, you will find it in the UK. And also I'd like to add, sometimes people get down in the dumps about the job situation and start to say, oh, I'm going to qualify this year, there's nothing for me. I went to this college myself. This is one of the most reputable universities in Ireland. This is an excellent PTE course. It is known across Ireland and internationally. You are extremely in demand and very sought after around the world, not just in the UK, but further afield. So do bear that in mind. If you decide for any reason that you don't want to stay in Ireland next year, maybe you just want to change a scene, or maybe it is a job situation, you will be absolutely snapped up. And I think my colleagues in the other companies will back up what I said there. So plenty of jobs will be the first reason. Gain experience and improve your CV. So let's face it, that's extremely important. You want to come out this year, ideally you want to end up walking into a full-time teaching job and have that on your CV. Imagine saying to yourself, I'm going to head off to England for a couple of years, then I'll come back to Ireland. Look how bulked out your CV is going to be after 2 years of really excellent experience. Come back into the Irish system, doing your interviews with a far enhanced CV. So definitely experience and CV is very important. Career progression, I don't know if everybody knows about this, but the way schools are structured in England is you've got departments, learning areas, and then you've got senior management. So an example would be a history teacher would be within the history department, but history is inside the humanities learning area. It's in there with geography, religion, and CSP or citizenship. So inside the school, you've got history teachers, but then you've got the head of history, and above that, you've got the head of the humanities learning area, and also the deputy head of the humanities learning area. So when I say you can realistically work up to one of these positions, I'm not making it up. I started my school as an art teacher. At the end of my NQT year, I was actually appointed to head of the art department in that very big comprehensive school. So maybe I was there, right place at the right time, but not necessarily. Loads of teachers we've placed over the last 11 years are now working as heads of department, heads of learning area, and even some have made it to senior management. These positions are fantastic for your CV, but they're also brilliant for your pocket as well, so you're paid thousands extra to move up into these roles. So that's really, really achievable for you, not just in 10 years' time, but the next 2 or 3 years' time. So career progression is a big, big thing in England. Excuse my cheesy shamrocks, but the Irish community in the southeast of England. So we're talking about the UK in general, but the bulk of the jobs would probably be in the southeast of England. And because since 2009-2010 the job situation taking a nosedive here in Ireland, there's been really a mass exodus of Irish teachers heading over, and they would have gone where the jobs are. So that's the southeast of England, counties like Kent, Essex, Cambridgeshire, London, Oxfordshire, Sussex, Surrey. So if you go over there to teach, I'd be willing to bet money you'll have Irish colleagues in your school, might be somebody you know, or a friend of a friend. Down the road you'll have someone you know, so you're not going over there on island. You will have Irish people that you know in the local area, I promise. Excellent connections. People all the time say to me on the phone, I don't mind where I go, but I'd like to be somewhere where I can get home. Everybody seems to feel like that, of course, it's home. Anywhere around the southeast of England, there are 5 airports, so 5 in the Greater London area. So any time of the morning, afternoon or evening, you will get a flight home. If you're from Mayo or Donegal, it might be a little bit more tricky, but for most of us, you can get forward, you can get over and back from England quite easily. And let's face it, it's cheap, thanks to Ryanair. The Teaching Council, now I don't know if they've been in to see you, or if they are or will be in to see you, but hot off the press, because I actually spoke to them yesterday, the requirements laid out by the Teaching Council in order to get full registration can be completed in England. I actually have something in writing, an official document I can send to anybody if you come and see me at my stand. So there's 2 strands. You've got to do 300 hours, but you've also got to do your induction, which is 12 workshops. I'm told you've got to do 10 out of the 12. So your hours are the easy bit, but also schools in England are able to allow you to meet the requirements for your induction as well, so you don't need to come back to Ireland and do those. You either go through the official NQT programme, or your school is able to provide you with other kinds of training and workshops which will go towards that. You get it signed off by your school in England in the form of 2 letters, carry that back to the Teaching Council, and they will tick that box for you. So it is achievable and it's doable. And as I said, that's hot off the press, so that's up-to-date information. School locations and subjects required. So I think everybody here, all my colleagues in the other companies would agree, the biggest demand for teachers is in the southeast of England. There are some jobs in Scotland, but they're few and far between. Wales, the job situation is extremely poor, and Northern Ireland arguably is as bad as it is down here for jobs. I don't want to say anything too negative. When I say bad, you know what I mean, there's a bit of a shortage of full-time work. So certainly England is a place to go. And as I said, the southeast of England, the London area or the counties around London, so Kent, Essex, Cambridgeshire, Oxfordshire, Sussex, Surrey, Hertfordshire, counties like that are where the concentration of the jobs are. Now the next bit, not to put anybody off, I just wanted to say what the subjects are that are most in demand. There'll be loads of history teachers here, there'll be art teachers, religion, business studies, but I just want to tell you these are the ones in England that are classed as shortage subjects. So maths, science, English and modern foreign languages. But I promise you, ourselves, we'll be placing teachers across all subject areas this year and also primary. It's just that I want to make you aware that these are the kind of hot subjects in England, if you like. So science, more especially physics and chemistry, and languages, the real excellent and in short supply and combination will be French and Spanish if you have those. But any science subject is also very in demand and any language is very in demand. But after that, I promise you, the business studies, the music, the primary, the humanities, there will be jobs across all those subject areas as well, definitely. Full-time and subbing. Subbing is our term here. They call it supply work in England. So there's full-time work and there's subbing work available. The only thing I would say to you regarding your 300 hours, be careful to meet the requirement of the Teaching Council. It does need to be full-time hours you get. But I do think subbing or supply teaching, we'll say, is a good option if you're not sure you want to relocate. You can go over and do a bit of day-to-day supply. But if you are sure you want to go, probably the full-time is the way to go because you'll get your requirements for the Teaching Council. Now, this is a very simple little slide on job applications because I know we've got an excellent platform today to talk to people in more detail about how we do this. But how to apply for jobs, you can apply directly to schools, you can go to county councils, or you can go through companies or agencies. There are plenty here today for you to talk to. I will say that companies and agencies do provide some excellent services in terms of training, help with relocation, and on behalf of ourselves and other companies, we don't charge our teachers fees, or what we say our candidates' fees. We're not allowed to do that. So our fees come from our clients or our schools, because that query does come up every year. So we don't take your salary, so we do provide a lot of very, very good services. But as I said, if you want to, you can go directly to a school, you can speak to a county council, so there are different options. Interviews for September posts start in February and finish in July. This is an important point. We get CVs, a rush of CVs every year, late June, July, even August. Don't leave it that late. Interviews for September posts will start next month. To be in with the best chance of having the pick of the jobs and the pick of the schools, it would be insane to leave it till later in the year. But I do understand what happens. You're thinking to yourselves, I want to see what's coming up at home. I understand that. But just bear in mind, if you do feel that you will want to go to England for September, get your CV in any time from now. Don't leave it till later in the year. And when the schools shut, the third week of July, there are no interviews over the summer holidays, okay? So if you leave it till August, the chances are that you definitely will not get a job. So really get CVs in ASAP. Interviews, including teaching of a lesson. I don't know if you guys know that, but you need to teach a lesson as part of the interview process in England. It's the way it is across the board. You turn up at the school, it usually takes a half a day, you get a tour of the school, you get your kind of verbal interview with the head teacher or maybe the head of the English department if it's an English job, but then you need to teach a lesson as well. Don't be afraid, it's like a supervision. You'll get the topic for your lesson 3 or 4 days in advance. We, and I'm sure other companies here, provide you with a lot of support coming up to your interview. You carry over your resources, your lesson plan with you, and you teach your lesson on the day. So it's an integral part of the interview, and everyone has got to do it. Some differences. This is my last slide. I said it was quick. It's very quick. I want to just put down some. These are like frequently asked questions, if you like, stuff that maybe people don't know about. Some differences between England and Ireland. So the big, major, obvious one is the curriculum. The curriculum they follow in England is called the National Curriculum of England. That is the website there. Coming up to interview, you want to have some loose knowledge of it at least. You want to have read through it, go through the website, be familiar with it, definitely. Don't go into the interview and they ask you, well, are you familiar with the curriculum here? And you'll be like, no, I haven't looked at it. Just be able to put across that you've read through it, you've seen some basic differences. The school day finished at 3 p.m. instead of 4. I'm going to move on to a depressing point in a minute, so I thought I'd put that uplifting on there. Most lessons are 1 hour long. Some schools still do the 40-45 minute lesson. For the majority, it's 1 hour. There are 5 one-hour lessons per day, and for the most part, which is 25 a week. Teachers will be doing contact hours anything between 18 to 22. That can vary depending on the staffing of the school and other issues. So if you're lucky, you'll be delivering about 18 out of 25. If you're unlucky, you might be doing about 22. So that's not set in stone. The summer holiday, this is my depressing point, only 6 weeks. We can do absolutely nothing about it. So you actually work right up to mid-July, and then you're back then at the very end of August, beginning of September. So I know it cannot compete with the Irish summer holiday, but it's just the way it is. Structure of schools, I mentioned that already, I won't go into it again. It's very different to how it is in Ireland, and it's lovely actually. It's one thing I really enjoyed. So if you're a history teacher, as I said, you're inside in your own department with the other history teachers. And then your history is also in the learning area with the religion teachers, geography teachers, CSB teachers, and you have your own staff room. Any lesson planning, any schemes of work that needs to be shared, it's very easy to do that. You're like a team, and there is a real sense of team within UK schools. And when you start there in September, you don't have to have all your schemes of work to bring over with you, sweating over the summer holidays. What am I going to teach? What are the books? When you start, the head of history will hand you your schemes of work and all the resources that go along with it and the books. So it is really possible to hit the ground running. Obviously training is really important, and you teachers speak to you more about that, but you will get handed your resources, and you do get a lot of support from your school as well, so that's a good thing.